Today we've got a super special guest, my wife Tay, who was able to save over $100,000 by the age of 24. So in today's video, we're going to talk through all of the different things that she did throughout her life to get her into a situation where she had a huge deposit ready to deploy into a couple of properties by her mid-20s. So I'm really excited to interview you today, Tay, because you've been extremely disciplined and diligent since your teenage years to be able to build that deposit. So tell us all where it began. You know, what was your first job? When did you start saving some money?
So I started work, I think when I was 13, I started teaching dancing. I was probably doing 2-3 hours a week maximum, always earning cash as well, which was good. And that means I've always been a cash person, so I could physically see what I was earning was a really good way for me.
Stashing it under the pillow every
Pretty
night?
much, yeah. I know there's something satisfying about cash. And then after teaching dancing, I started at McDonald's when I was 14 with parents' permission as soon as I could. I had some older cousins working there, so it was fun for me. Like, it never felt like work. And living at home, I didn't really have any expenses at 14, so I was saving every dollar I earned from there. And yeah, that's when I started. I did those 2 jobs. I was still teaching dancing while at McDonald's. Right up until I was 19, I still had both those jobs.
Did you get some support? What was your parents' relationship with money and advice in relation to saving?
Mum and Dad were super supportive of us. We were pretty middle class. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, but they were really supportive of whatever I wanted to do. I kind of had the drive to work more, but they motivated us in terms of they made us buy our own car. They made us pay for things that we wanted to do, like go to the movies or do that with friends. Past 16, when we did start to have some money, they made us pay for things which motivated me more to save.
That really just reconfirms the notion that, it is really important to grind and work for the things that you want in life rather than when they're given to you, because it forces you to figure it out. Like, if you want to go get a mobile phone and pay for that SIM card and use the credit, whatever it might be, you've got to work for that to pay for it. And then, that first big ticket item in the terms of a car, having to save thousands of dollars. So sacrificing, movies with the friends, new dress from Supre, I'm sure.
Yep.
And all of those things that you want so that you could have what you wanted most. So once you finished up high school, what did you start doing to build up that huge amount of savings?
So I've had quite a varied career, I would say. When I left school, I got quite good grades in high school. I was, from a lot of teachers, told to go to university because of those grades, but it's not what I felt like doing. And then I did a diploma in event management, and I got offered a junior event coordinator role from that. So I went straight into full-time work pretty much after that 6-month diploma. And I loved it. It was a great job. But after 2.5 years, I got a lot of experience doing it. But after 2.5 years, all my friends were at university. They were going out, they were going on holidays, and I started to feel a bit burnt out. I was saving a lot of money. I was living at home. I wasn't on a great salary, about 40,000 maybe. So it wasn't a great salary, but I was saving everything, living at home. I was very blessed that I didn't have to pay rent, board. My parents saw that I was working, so they were happy for me to live at home. And I wasn't out blowing all that money. They could see I was saving. After I thought I needed a little bit of a gap year, which I didn't get after school, I went and volunteered in Fiji for 6 months. That was all. I had to pay about $6,000 to do that experience. But the host family, I didn't have to pay anything while I was living there, and the host family was so beautiful. It was such an eye-opening experience. I just loved it so much. So that was 6 months. I just had a break, didn't come home. No one came and visited me. I just had a great time over there, really immersed myself in the culture. And when I came back, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. A job came up for being a flight attendant with Virgin, and I thought, I'll give it a go. So I started that, and I absolutely loved flying. It was super fun. And again, I was still living at home, so very grateful for my parents. They helped me get to where we are today. And I saved everything I earned there. Again, pretty much was a tight ass. All my friends used to say I was a tight ass, but it all pays off in the end. Here. During COVID, back in the career path, during COVID, I took redundancy, which was hard because I did love flying, but I was very lucky to be offered an opportunity at Pumped On Property. So I worked there for about 1.5 years. Again, ready for a new path. So I went into disability support work, which is what I'm doing now. and it's super rewarding and I really love it.
What I love most about that story is just the fact that you had a very different journey to the average person. You know, you didn't follow the traditional university and career path. You didn't go down the trade route like a lot of our friends and family were doing at the time, but it still enabled you to get to where you were. And it's great to hear that you didn't sacrifice lifestyle either. Like, yeah, you were a bit of a tight ass, but you still went and spent 6 months overseas. You know, you went traveling to Europe, you went traveling to America in that phase when you're in your early 20s as well. So it's not all sacrifice to get there. It's just about having the discipline to commit to saving a certain percentage of your wage every single week.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a percentage I was saving. I felt a little bit addicted to like my bank account going up. So like I would probably, depending on what I was getting paid, obviously throughout the different careers, my wage changed. So it wasn't always a percentage. It was more like I want to get to 30,000 in my bank account by this amount. And I just did what I could. When I went to America, I did 2.5 months over there, and that was about $10,000 out and I knew, okay, cool, I want to get to 80,000, but I'm also going to get to 90,000 because I want that trip. So it's just when you have goals, yeah, add in your fun and make that just that little bit extra.
So what tips would you have for people that are working towards saving up that first deposit, which is the hardest deposit to save for?
If you're fortunate enough, live at home as long as you can. I sacrificed that living in a share house with friends to live at home. I knew I'd be able to save more that way. Pre-drink hard. That was a big thing for me, like going out when I did go out with friends and stuff. Drinks at the club, cocktails now are like $23. Like that is ridiculous. Set a goal and put that above everything else. So if you know what you need to do, just work hard towards that. Don't let other people try and sway you opposite ways. Another thing with other people, keeping up with the Joneses. Like I have friends that buy $450 new dresses for every wedding, every event. You don't need that. Some of the nicest dresses I've worn, I've got at Vinnie's or hand-me-downs, and people compliment me on them. I'm like, yep, I got it from my friends. Like, just rock it. Or hire dresses these days. There's so many companies that will hire out a $600 dress for $150. So go that way. Another tip would be you don't need to be earning huge money. I've never personally had a year where I've earned over 70,000, but I was just disciplined putting away the money. Like, I feel the more you earn, sometimes the more you feel like you can spend. So yeah, just be disciplined from what you're earning and what you're putting away.
I don't know if your mum and dad would advise for people to pre-drink as hard as you did back in the day there, Tate.
Thank God.
Few drug drives, not drug driving, but a few drunk pickups when you were in your early 20s there for sure.
Very well.
But obviously you mentioned before that you got a little bit addicted to the savings and seeing that number continuously going up. But what was it like when you decided to spend that money on an asset like the home that we're recording this video in today?
Bloody scary. I hated it. Like, obviously, I had you to help me and support me and go, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. But seeing my bank account go from there to there, like, yeah, the house to show for it, but I see my bank account go down, but it's worth it. Like, I had to sit back and go, what am I saving this money for? My future, my home with my husband. Like, that's what I save for. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get a gold star because my bank account says that, like, but I've got a beautiful home to come home to every day. Like, it's so special and it's so worth it.
You know, that's why it's so important to set the goal, put that goal above all else, especially when you're a little bit younger, because time in the market is far more important than timing the market. And you don't want to look back and live with regret. So it's an amazing journey that you've been on. Obviously a very hard worker. You know, Tay comes across as quite humble, but she's a very hard worker. She sacrifices a lot to make sure that she can bring in the dough. And it's great to be a part of this journey with you. And I'm so grateful for the fact that you've worked so hard to be able to help us buy this house and renovate this house and do what we wanted to. And now we're just content and excited about the future together. So I really hope that this has motivated some of you out there to get started on your investment journey by at least committing to a savings goal or building that first deposit to get into the property market. Now, please share this with a friend, a family member, a cousin, a colleague, anybody that needs a little bit of support when saving some money. There's a great book out there that we've both read called The Barefoot Investor that can really help put those savings habits in place. If you can't do it alone, because you don't want to get to your 30s or your 40s and look back and go, I've earned all of this money, but I've got nothing to show for it yet. So commit to the discipline, because we're very fortunate to have what we have these days, but it's because of all the hard work we've done in the past. So thanks for being vulnerable and honest today, Tay. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please give us a like. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Woo! That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
Getting
Have a
cool,
spin.
bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. Look at that.
So nice, eh?
Oh.